There's a tree that has been growing quietly in tropical regions for thousands of years. And for most of that time, the people who lived near it knew something the rest of the world was slow to figure out. They used its leaves to treat infections. They gave its seeds to elderly men who were losing their strength. They brewed its roots into teas for pain and inflammation. They called it many things across many cultures, but today, scientists and researchers around the world are calling it something else entirely. They're calling it a superfood, an adaptogen, and yes, even a miracle tree. And if you're a man over 55, I want to spend the next several minutes talking directly to you about why this tree, Moringa oleifera, might be one of the most important things you learn about this year. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to make wild promises or tell you that one plant is going to fix everything overnight. What I am here to do is give you real, honest information based on what science is actually saying, what traditional medicine has known for centuries, and what men just like you are experiencing when they start paying attention to what they put into their bodies. Because here's the truth. After 55, your body starts asking for different things. Your nutritional needs shift. Your hormones change. Your energy, your joints, your heart, your mind, they all need a little more support than they did when you were 35. And most men in this stage of life are either not getting that support or they're reaching for the wrong things to get it. So before I go any further, I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want you to answer in the comments below. What is the #1 health challenge you're dealing with right now as a man over 55? Is it fatigue, joint pain, blood sugar issues, low energy or low drive, brain fog, weight gain? Whatever it is, I want you to type it below because I'm going to address a lot of those things in this video, and I want to know what matters most to you. Your comment might also help another man watching this video feel less alone in what he's going through. So go ahead, drop it in the comments. I'll be reading them. Now let's talk about Moringa. Moringa oleifera is a fast-growing tree native to parts of Africa, South Asia, and the Indian subcontinent. It's been cultivated and used medicinally for over 4,000 years. The ancient Romans used it. Ayurvedic medicine has referenced it for centuries. African traditional healers have passed down knowledge of it through generations. And now, in the last 2 decades, modern research has started catching up with what all of those traditions already knew. What they're finding is remarkable, and I don't use that word lightly. Let me paint you a picture of just how nutritionally dense this plant is, because this is where everything starts. When you look at the dried leaf powder of Moringa, you're looking at a plant that contains more calcium than milk, more potassium than bananas, more iron than spinach, more vitamin C than oranges, and more vitamin A than carrots. Now, I know those comparisons get thrown around a lot, and sometimes they sound like marketing fluff. But these figures are based on gram-for-gram comparisons that have been published in peer-reviewed nutritional analyses. The World Health Organization and various food security organizations have actually studied Moringa as a potential solution to malnutrition in developing countries, specifically because of how much nutrition it packs into such a small amount of plant matter. But here's what really matters for you as a man over 55. It's not just about raw vitamins and minerals, it's about what those nutrients do inside your body at this specific stage of your life, and how Moringa delivers them alongside a collection of bioactive compounds that work together in ways that are genuinely exciting from a health perspective. Let's start with energy, because I know that's something many of you are struggling with. One of the most common things I hear from men in their mid-50s and beyond is that they just don't feel like themselves anymore. They wake up tired. They get through the day, but they're running on fumes. By mid-afternoon, they're dragging. And they remember a time, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, when they had real energy, when they could push through a full day of work and still have something left in the tank for family, for exercise, for life. If that sounds familiar, I want you to listen to this next part carefully. Fatigue in men over 55 has multiple causes, but some of the most common are nutritional deficiencies, specifically iron, B vitamins, and magnesium, combined with chronic low-grade inflammation and the gradual decline in mitochondrial efficiency that comes with aging. Your mitochondria are the energy factories inside your cells, and as you age, they become less efficient. They produce less energy, and they generate more oxidative stress as a byproduct. This is one of the key biological drivers of the fatigue that so many men in this age group experience. And it's also one of the areas where Moringa's nutrient profile becomes particularly relevant. Moringa is rich in iron, which is essential for red blood cell production and oxygen transport, the literal foundation of your energy at a cellular level. It contains B vitamins, including B6, which plays a critical role in converting food into usable energy. It's packed with magnesium, which is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, including those that produce ATP, the molecule your cells actually run on. And beyond all of that, Moringa contains a group of compounds called isothiocyanates, which research suggests may help activate certain cellular pathways that support mitochondrial health. When your mitochondria work better, you feel more energetic. It's really that direct. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough when it comes to men's health after 55: testosterone and hormonal balance. I know this is a sensitive topic for a lot of men, and there's a lot of noise out there about it, so I want to be measured and clear here. Testosterone levels in men naturally decline with age, typically beginning in the mid-30s and continuing gradually over time. By the time a man is in his late 50s or 60s, his testosterone may be significantly lower than it was in his peak years. This decline contributes to a wide range of symptoms that many men chalk up to just getting older: reduced muscle mass, increased body fat, especially around the midsection, decreased motivation and drive, mood changes, reduced sexual desire and function, and yes, fatigue. Now, I'm not going to tell you Moringa is a testosterone booster in the way that some supplement companies exaggerate their products. What I am going to tell you is this: there is legitimate research suggesting that Moringa contains compounds that may support healthy hormone levels in men. Studies conducted on animal models have shown that Moringa leaf extract may help protect the testes from oxidative stress, which is one of the mechanisms through which testosterone production declines. There is also research looking at Moringa's effect on levels of sex hormone-binding globulin, SHBG, which is a protein that binds to testosterone in the blood and makes it unavailable to your tissues. When SHBG levels are high, your free testosterone, the kind that actually does the work in your body, goes down. Some preliminary research suggests Moringa may have a role in helping maintain healthier hormonal balance. More research is needed, and I want to be honest about that. But the existing evidence is promising, and it's one of several reasons why Moringa has drawn the attention of researchers interested in men's health specifically. Let's move to inflammation, because this might be the single most important topic for any man over 55 who is serious about his long-term health. Chronic inflammation is not like the acute inflammation you experience when you cut your finger or sprain your ankle. That kind of inflammation is your immune system working correctly. It shows up, does its job, and goes away. Chronic inflammation is different. It's low-grade, persistent, and largely invisible. You don't always feel it directly, but over time, it's silently damaging your blood vessels, your joints, your brain, and your organs. Researchers now recognize chronic inflammation as a key driver of almost every major age-related disease: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, arthritis, certain cancers, and more. Moringa contains a remarkably diverse array of anti-inflammatory compounds. Among the most studied are quercetin, camphorol, and isothiocyanates, particularly one called Moringin, which is somewhat unique to Moringa and has drawn significant scientific interest. These compounds work through multiple pathways to modulate your body's inflammatory response. They don't shut down inflammation entirely, which would actually be harmful because you need your immune system to function, but they help regulate it, reducing the chronic, low-level fire that burns quietly and causes damage over years and decades. Published laboratory and animal studies have shown that moringa leaf extracts can significantly reduce markers of inflammation, including C-reactive protein, IL-6, and TNF-alpha. These are the biological signals your body uses to coordinate its inflammatory response. And in people with chronic inflammation, these markers are chronically elevated. Bringing them down is associated with better cardiovascular health, improved joint comfort, better metabolic function, and even improved cognitive performance. Human clinical trials in this area are still developing, but the mechanistic evidence is strong. And the traditional use of moringa for inflammation over thousands of years of human history adds important context to what we're seeing in the lab. Speaking of joints, if you're a man over 55 dealing with joint pain, stiffness, or discomfort, I want to address that directly. Osteoarthritis is the most common form of joint disease, and its prevalence increases significantly with age. For men in their 50s and 60s, knee pain, hip discomfort, lower back stiffness, and hand pain are extraordinarily common. And for many men, this joint discomfort is what starts limiting their activity, which then leads to weight gain, which then puts more pressure on the joints, which causes more pain. It's a cycle that I see driving men toward increasingly sedentary lives, and it has serious downstream consequences for overall health. The anti-inflammatory compounds in moringa, particularly those isothiocyanates and flavonoids, may help support joint comfort by reducing inflammatory activity in and around the joint tissues. Some research has also pointed to moringa's potential to inhibit certain enzymes that contribute to cartilage breakdown. Additionally, moringa's calcium and phosphorus content supports bone health, which is important because bone density in men also declines with age, though this is discussed less often than it is in women. The combination of anti-inflammatory action and bone-supportive nutrients makes moringa genuinely interesting for men dealing with musculoskeletal discomfort as they age. Now I want to spend some time on heart health, because cardiovascular disease remains the leading cause of death in men, and the risk profile for most men shifts significantly after the age of 50. If you're in your mid-50s or beyond, your heart health deserves serious attention. Not fear, but focus. The good news is that lifestyle and nutritional choices have an enormous impact on cardiovascular risk, and this is one of the areas where moringa's research base is most robust. Multiple studies have looked at moringa's effects on blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood lipid profiles. On the cholesterol side, animal studies and several small human studies have shown that moringa leaf supplementation is associated with reductions in LDL cholesterol, the kind often referred to as bad cholesterol, and triglycerides, while supporting HDL levels. The mechanisms proposed include the fiber content of moringa leaves, which can bind to cholesterol in the digestive tract, as well as the plant's antioxidant compounds, which may reduce the oxidation of LDL particles, a key step in the development of arterial plaque. On blood pressure, early research suggests that moringa may have a mild vasodilatory effect, meaning it may help relax blood vessels and support healthy circulation. This is thought to be related to compounds like niacinamide and the high potassium content of moringa leaves, since potassium plays a critical role in regulating blood pressure. While I want to be clear that moringa is not a replacement for any medication your doctor has prescribed for blood pressure or cholesterol, the evidence supporting its cardiovascular benefits as part of a broader healthy lifestyle is genuinely encouraging. Let me shift now to blood sugar and metabolic health, because this is increasingly relevant for men in this age group. Insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes have become extraordinarily common, and they don't develop overnight. They develop slowly, over years, often driven by dietary patterns, reduced physical activity, chronic inflammation, and the natural changes in metabolic function that come with aging. Many men in their 50s are somewhere on that spectrum, not yet diabetic, but not metabolically thriving either. Their fasting blood sugar is creeping up. Their doctor has mentioned pre-diabetes. They've gained weight around the middle that doesn't want to come off no matter what they try. Moringa has shown meaningful promise in this area. Several studies, including human trials, have examined its effects on blood glucose levels, and the results have been encouraging. A study published in a peer-reviewed nutrition journal found that participants who consumed moringa leaf powder with meals showed lower post-meal blood sugar spikes compared to control groups. The proposed mechanisms include the presence of compounds in moringa that may slow carbohydrate absorption, improve insulin sensitivity at the cellular level, and support the function of the pancreatic beta cells that produce insulin. Moringa also contains chlorogenic acid, a compound also found in coffee, which has been independently associated with improved blood sugar regulation. For men who are working to get their blood sugar under better control, through diet, through exercise, through lifestyle, moringa could be a valuable addition to that effort. Again, if you're on medication for blood sugar, please speak with your doctor before adding any supplement, including moringa. But the underlying science here is solid enough that it warrants serious attention. Now I want to talk about the brain, because cognitive health after 55 is something that worries a lot of men, even if they don't always talk about it. The concerns might sound like, I'm not as sharp as I used to be. I forget names more often. I lose my train of thought. It takes me longer to process information. These experiences are common, and while some degree of cognitive slowing is a normal part of aging, significant decline is not inevitable. And there is growing evidence that what you put into your body has a profound effect on how your brain ages. Moringa is rich in antioxidants, including vitamin C, vitamin E, beta-carotene, and a variety of polyphenols that help protect brain cells from oxidative damage. Oxidative stress is a key driver of neurodegeneration, and the brain is particularly vulnerable to it because of its high metabolic activity. Research has also suggested that some of moringa's bioactive compounds may help reduce neuroinflammation, inflammation specifically within brain tissue, which is increasingly recognized as a factor in cognitive decline and neurodegenerative disease. Animal studies have shown that moringa leaf extract may improve memory and cognitive performance, and may even have a protective effect against certain neurotoxic compounds. Human research in this area is still in its early stages, but the theoretical basis for moringa's neuroprotective potential is well grounded in what we know about its chemistry and its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. There's also an indirect pathway here that's worth mentioning. Moringa contains tryptophan, which is a precursor to serotonin, the neurotransmitter that plays a significant role in mood regulation, sleep quality, and emotional resilience. Men over 55 are at elevated risk for depression and anxiety, conditions that are often underdiagnosed and undertreated in this demographic because many men are reluctant to discuss mental health. Anything that supports serotonin production and mood stability is worth paying attention to, and moringa's tryptophan content, combined with its broad nutritional profile, may contribute to a more stable and positive mental state. Let me talk about how to actually use moringa, because I think a lot of people hear about a superfood and then have no idea what to do with it practically. Moringa is available in several forms, and each has its place depending on your preferences and goals. The most commonly available form is dried leaf powder. This is made by harvesting moringa leaves, drying them carefully at low temperatures to preserve their nutritional content, and then grinding them into a fine green powder. 1 to 2 teaspoons of this powder per day is a typical starting dose, and it can be added to smoothies, stirred into yogurt, mixed into soups or stews, or dissolved in water or juice. The taste is earthy and slightly grassy. Some people enjoy it, others prefer to mix it into something that masks the flavor. The key with any new addition to your diet is to start small and build gradually, giving your body time to adjust. Moringa is also available in capsule form, which makes dosing convenient and eliminates the taste factor entirely. If you go this route, look for products that use organic moringa and specify that the product is made from leaf powder, not stem or root, which have different compound profiles and, in the case of the root bark especially, should be used with caution. Fresh moringa leaves, where they are available, can be cooked and eaten similarly to spinach or other leafy greens. The nutritional profile of fresh leaves is slightly different from the dried powder, but they are a wonderful food if you have access to them. Moringa seeds are also edible and nutritious, though they have a different flavor profile and are less commonly used as a daily supplement. Moringa tea, made by steeping dried leaves in hot water, is a gentler way to consume the plant and is particularly good if you're sensitive to digestive changes or simply prefer a more moderate approach. A few practical notes. Moringa is generally considered safe for most adults when consumed in food-level amounts, which is the range I'm describing here. However, if you are pregnant, have a thyroid condition, or are taking medications, particularly blood thinners, diabetes medications, or blood pressure medications, please consult with your healthcare provider before adding moringa to your routine. Not because moringa is dangerous, but because it is biologically active, and that means it can interact with other biologically active substances, including medications. I also want to address the quality issue, because the supplement industry is not always tightly regulated, and the quality of moringa products varies considerably. When shopping for moringa powder or capsules, look for products that are certified organic, that have been third-party tested for purity and potency, and that clearly identify where the moringa was sourced and how it was processed. A reputable company will be transparent about these details. Avoid products with long lists of unnecessary additives or fillers, and be skeptical of any product making extreme or miraculous claims beyond what the evidence supports. Here's something I want you to sit with for a moment. The body you have right now, at 55 or 60 or 65 or beyond, is still capable of remarkable things. It is still adaptable. It is still responsive to what you feed it, how you move it, how you rest it, and how you care for it. The idea that aging means inevitably declining into poor health is simply not true. There are men in their 60s and 70s who are stronger, more energetic, and more mentally sharp than they were in their 40s, because they made intentional choices about how to support their health. And they didn't do it by relying on any single food or supplement. They did it by building a foundation. Real food, regular movement, quality sleep, stress management, strong relationships. And then adding thoughtful, evidence-informed tools on top of that foundation. Moringa can be one of those tools, a powerful one, backed by thousands of years of use and a growing body of modern research. But it works best as part of that broader foundation, not as a shortcut around it. I want to close by coming back to something I said at the beginning. You deserve honest information. You deserve to be spoken to as an intelligent adult who is capable of making good decisions for your own health when given the right information. Too much health content out there is either fear-mongering or over-promising, and neither of those serves you. What serves you is clarity, accuracy, and encouragement. Encouragement to take the steps that actually move the needle on how you feel and how you age. If even one thing from this video has sparked your curiosity or given you a new angle on a health challenge you've been dealing with, then this conversation has been worth having. I'd love for you to share this video with another man in your life who might benefit from it. A brother, a friend, a father. These are the kinds of conversations that men in this generation often don't have with each other, and they should. And don't forget to answer that question in the comments. What is the #1 health challenge you're dealing with right now? I read those comments, and your answer genuinely helps me understand what content will be most useful to you going forward. Take care of yourself. You've earned the right to feel good, and the tools to do it are more accessible than you might think.